Hi loves, welcome to part 2 of my Blaze Crochet Bikini Set tutorial. In this video we're going to be working on the bikini section and we're going to add some fringes to the mesh top. So let's start with the bikini bottom. I like to start my bikini bottom from the crotch and then increase up to the bikini width instead of starting at the width and then decreasing down to the crotch. It's weird, I know, but let's get started. We're gonna crochet 7 chains. After we have crocheted our 7 chain, we are going to crochet 3 more chains and do a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. We're gonna fill our chains with 1 double crochet going across, 1 double crochet to each chain. Alright, so we have completed our first row. We're going to chain up 3, turn our work and do a double crochet into the 2nd stitch. We're going to do double crochet in each stitch going across, and then we're going to do a double crochet into the 3rd chain of the last stitch. So we have 2 rows of straight. We're gonna start increasing. Now I'm making a large, therefore I'm gonna be going up to a 8" to a 8.5" width. So I chain 3, turn my work, and I'm doing a double crochet into the 1st stitch, that is the corner stitch, and I'm gonna move on to do a double crochet into the next stitch. I'm gonna put a double crochet in each stitch until I've reached the corner stitch, which is the chain of 3 right there. I'm gonna put 2 double crochets in that stitch, so that's 1 double crochet and that's a 2nd double crochet. So that's how we increase. We're going to repeat this process until we have gotten to our width. I'm going to put the width on the screen for the different sizes, starting from an extra small to an extra large. I'm checking to see how far I've come along with my width. I'm not quite there as yet. I still have about half an inch to go, so I'm going to continue increasing. Now that I've achieved my 8" width, I will now stop decreasing. I'm gonna do one row of straight, and then I move to my strings. I'm gonna chain 3, turn my work around, and do a double crochet into the second stitch from the corner. I'm gonna continue putting a double crochet in each stitch across the width. And remember to place a double crochet into your corner stitch. That's your chain of 3. We're putting it into the third chain. Alright, now we're gonna make some strings. We are going to chain up 70. Once I have my 70 chains, I am going to snip with the scissors, tighten it, and make a knot. I'm going to make sure that knot is well tight, very tight. And we're going to snip off the extra string. I don't like to see too much extra yarn, so I'm going to snip it off. Alright, let's go to the other side. We are going to push our hook into the third chain of the chain of 3, the corner stitch, into the third chain at the top. We're going to push our hook right there. Let's just jab it through. Alright, and then we're going to do another chain of 70. We're going to repeat what we did on the left side. Is it the left side? I think so, but yeah. Great, now we have completed our first half. We're going to start with the second half. So this will go from the crotch to cover the bottom. We're going to put our hook into that corner stitch and pull through our yarn. We're going to chain up 3 and do a double crochet stitch into the second stitch from the corner. I'm hiding my ends, I'm concealing them. Conceal, don't feel. I'm filling each stitch with a double crochet. I'm going right across with it. I'm gonna do another row of straight. I'm chaining up 3, flipping my work, doing a double crochet into the second stitch from the corner, and I'm putting a double crochet in each stitch going across. Alright, now I'm gonna start increasing. I'm chaining up 3, turning my work and doing a double crochet into the corner stitch, the first stitch. I'm gonna increase, so you know what to do. We're going to put a double crochet in each stitch going across until we have gotten to the end stitch, aka the corner stitch, where we are going to put 2 double crochets into the third chain of that corner stitch, which is a chain of 3. We're going to flip our work and do the same thing again. We're going to keep building up until the back is the same size as the front. So when we rest the bikini together and we lay them flat on a surface, like we rest the 2 sides together on top of each other and we lay it flat on a surface, it should be equal. Just like this. So once we have achieved this, we are going to stop with the increasing and do 2 rows of straight. So to do this, we're going to chain up 3, flip our work and do a double crochet into the second stitch. We're going to fill up each stitch with 1 double crochet going all the way across. Remember to put your double crochet stitch into the chain of 3 end stitch in the corner, right? So we're going to put it in the third chain. So don't leave out that or else the work is going to look like a wookie or kooky. Alright, so we're going to do our last row. Whoop, whoop. I'm going to chain up 3, flip our work, do a double crochet into the second stitch from the start, and we're going to place a double crochet in each stitch going across. 1 double crochet to 1 stitch. I'm going all the way to the end, and we're going to place our last double crochet where in the third chain of our corner chain of 3. Alright, so let's move on to chaining the string. We are chaining 68 instead of 70. The back is a bit wider than the front, so we don't need as much string. When we have our 68 chained, we are going to snip snip, make a knot, tighten it, and cut it off. We're gonna repeat the process on the next side. we're going to put our hook into the corner chain of 3 into the third chain, and we are going to crochet 68 chains. And that's a wrap. We have completed our bikini bottom. And the best thing about this is that the stretch is unreal. I like when my bikini bottoms stretch. See? Alright, so all that's left to do is to taper your strings. I'm not sure how you do it, but go ahead and do that. Let's move on to the top. So I'm downsizing my hook for the bikini top. I'm using a 4mm hook. I like my stitches a bit tighter. I'm gonna chain 9. After I have my 9 chains, I am going to chain 3 and then do a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. I'm then going to fill my other chains with 1 double crochet each. So 1 chain, 1 double crochet. Alright, now I'm at the end of the row. In this chain we are going to add 2 more double crochets. So in total I should have 3 double crochets in that end stitch. I'm going to chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets in that same stitch. After I've done that, I'm going to move on to the next stitch. I'm going to put 1 double crochet in that stitch, move on to the next stitch, put another double crochet in that stitch. So it's going to be 1 double crochet to 1 stitch. I'm going to do that until we have completed the entire row or the entire side. Alright, let's move on. We're going to chain up 2, not 3, 2. We're going to do a double crochet. We're going to turn our work and do a double crochet into the second stitch from the start. You're going to do a double crochet in the following stitch. So we're filling up each stitch with a double crochet. We're going to continue this until we are at the space. Alright, so now we're at the space. At the top we are going to do 2 double crochets in that space. We're going to chain 2 and do 2 more double crochets in that space. Now we're back to the stitches. We're going to do a double crochet in that first stitch from the space. We're going to do a double crochet in the following stitch. So we're placing 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way to the end. So at our end stitch we are going to place the double crochet into our corner chain of 2. It's 2 this time, not 3. So we're going into the second stitch. I'm going to chain up 2 and do a double crochet into the second stitch from the start. We are placing a double crochet in each stitch, going all the way up to the space at the top. Yep. In this space we are going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2 and do 2 more double crochets in that same space. Then we're moving back on to the stitches. We're going to place 1 double crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to continue placing 1 double crochet in each stitch until we have reached the end of the row. Now let's talk measurements. There is a specific width size for each cup. I'm going to leave that on the screen. Just basically a guide to say, hey, I'm going to stop right here based on what bra cup size I'm making a bikini top for. This is where I stop. I am doing a C cup. I'm stopping at 6 to 6. It's between 6 and 6.5 inches. I'm stopping there. I'm gonna move on to my border of single crochet. I'm gonna chain 1 and do a single crochet stitch right into the top or the top stitch of the last double crochet that I did. I'm gonna place a single crochet right there. I am going to do another single crochet around the body of that double crochet. I'm going to do another single crochet into the next stitch. So I'm doing stitch around the body, stitch around the body, in the stitch around the body, all the way to the end. Right, so I'm gonna do a single crochet into the last space, and then I'm going to do a single crochet into the top chain of 2 right there. That makes sense? I hope it does. Alright, so we have completed our border, and if you're making a simple bikini, this is where you would stop. Just do a slip stitch and cut off your yarn. But I'm extra, and my Blaze bikini top has some workings on the bottom, so if you're interested to see how that goes, then let's continue. We're gonna chain up 3. I'm gonna count 3 stitches, 1 2 3, and we're gonna place a single crochet in that third stitch. We're gonna place a single crochet into the following stitch, then we're gonna go back to chaining 2. Instead of 3, we're chaining 2. We're going to count 3, put a single crochet into the third stitch, put a single crochet into the fourth stitch. We're going to chain 2, count 3 stitches, and put a single crochet into the third stitch and the fourth stitch. We're going to chain 2, count 3 stitches, put a single crochet into the third and fourth stitch. We're going to chain up 2 again, count 3 stitches, put a single crochet into the third and the fourth stitch. Chain up 2, count 3, single crochet in third and fourth stitch. We're going to chain up 2, and then we are going to place a single crochet stitch right in that corner. You just gotta jab your hook in. It's a bit stubborn, so just force your way in. Yikes. Alright, and we do a single crochet right there. So if you're doing a C-cup, you should have 7 holes or loops, whatever you want to call them. If you're making a larger or smaller bust size, the loops will differ, so no worries about that. So let's go. We're going to chain 1, turn our work, and do a double crochet into the second loop. We're then going to chain 3 and do a slip stitch through the first 2 loops, or the 2 loops in the double crochet stitch, like that. And we're going to pull our yarn through 2 of the loops and pull our yarn through the last loop, and there we go. I think it's called a picot stitch. Am I right? I hope I'm right. We're going to chain 1, do another double crochet, chain 3, push our hook through the first 2 loops in the double crochet, pull our yarn through all the loops to get another picot stitch. You're going to chain 1, do a double crochet, chain 3, put our hook through the first 2 loops of the double crochet. We're going to pull our yarn through all the loops. You're going to repeat that step, chain 1, double crochet, chain 3, push our hook through the first 2 loops, pull our yarn through all these loops. So we're going to chain 3, and we are going to skip a space. To make things easier, we're going to start counting single crochets from the beginning of the row, and we're going to do a single crochet into the 6th single crochet stitch. Alright, so we're going to chain 4, and now we're going to chain 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do a slip stitch into the 3rd chain that we just chained. We're going to chain another 3, do a slip stitch through the 3rd chain. We're going to chain another 3, slip stitch through the 3rd chain, chain another 3, slip stitch through the 3rd chain. We should have 4 picot stitches, and we are going to do a slip stitch through the first hole or space in the first picot stitch. Alright, now we have done that, we are going to chain 4 and do a single crochet stitch in that first stitch right there. So we're going to chain up 3, we're going to skip a space, and we're starting in the second to last space from the end. We're going to do a double crochet, chain 3, we're going to push our hook through the first 2 loops of the double crochet, pull through, and there we go. Chain 1, double crochet, chain 2, push our hook through the first 2 loops of the double crochet, at the top of the double crochet I should say, and pull through. So we're going to do this until we have 4 double crochets with 4 picot stitches on the top. Alright, so we're going to chain 1 and do a slip stitch into the first chain, the chain at the bottom, if that makes more sense. We're going to do a slip stitch through that and do another slip stitch to fasten it off and make a snip snip. I know for different back up sizes the loops will differ. Just ensure that the double crochet with the picot stitches are done into the second loops from the corners, and the flower is done into the single crochet surrounding the middle loop. So let's make our string. We are going to push our hook into the space at the top of the bikini top, and we are going to chain up 150. When you have arrived at this number, you know the deal. Snip it off, and let's move on to the underbust string. So let's chain up 6. After we have done our 6 chains, we will then do a slip stitch into the first chain. So we're going to keep chaining until we have reached our respective underbust size. I am chaining for a large, so mine will be 31 inches. I'm going to keep measuring until I have gotten the length that I want. I've gotten to the length that I want. Remember to stretch when you're measuring. And now I am going to move on to create the loop that will be on the other side. So I'm going to count 6 chains. 1 2 3 4 5 6. I'm going to do a slip stitch into the 6th chain from the hook. I'm going to do another slip stitch to fasten that off, and then I'm going to cut. After that, I'm going to weave in my ends. I don't want no string sticking out, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So we're going to run our strings, or underbust strings, into the loops of the bikini bottom in these loops. So we're going to go under, pull through, over, pull through, under, pull through. We're gonna go through the entire thing. I want to explain what these loops are for. The bikini strings at the top, the bikini top string, these strings will be going through these loops. So instead of tying one string around the neck and another string around the underbust or the band, we're just gonna make one go. We're gonna carry it over the shoulder, carry each string over the shoulder, and run a string through a loop like so. Run the other string through the other loop, and then we tie it off. So we just have one string going throughout. Alright, time to make some fringes. We are going to turn the underside of our arm facing up on the table, and we are going to find the middle row, just like what I'm showing you. I'm going to trace our finger all the way down to the end and mark it with a hairpin. So this is how I make my fringes. I hold the end in my hand and I wrap it around my arms. I'm doing about 20 goes. Let's see how far that can carry me for the first sleeve. When I'm done, I'm gonna make a cut right where I'm holding it. I'm gonna ensure that everything is cut, everything is equal. The ends, that is. Make sure that the ends are equal. So let's go. I am going to do 4 strings to a box, a mesh box. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to remove my hairpin, take my crochet hook, go under, pull my yarn strings through the hole, and I'm going to take the ends and push it through the loop, just like that. And I'm going to tighten it. Alright, I'm going to take 4 more yarn strings and I'm going to skip a row and pull through the other row. So I'm skipping every other row. So skip one, inserting one, skip one, inserting one until we go all the way up to the underarm. And that's that. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other arm. And that's a wrap. Now I'm just gonna show you guys how to lace up the back of the mesh cover up real quick. You're gonna start at the top loop and we're just gonna lace it up shoelace style until we get all the way to the bottom. That's it. We have completed our 3-piece Blaze Crochet set. Thank you so much for tuning in with me for part 1, part 2. Let me know your thoughts. Like, this is my first go at a tutorial. I am open to any feedback.